And double-edged sword versus the AA, if you do get clipped by that ultimate, it will feel pretty bad, as well as really being one of the only heroes that could play up versus that lane where you do have to worry about that Inkswell, you do have to worry about that Broodmother Silken Bola. So the Abaddon having that Dispel is going to feel pretty nice. There really aren't too many heroes that can sort of fill that void. So the Abaddon, while it is versus AA, I think it is one of the few solutions they could have to that really aggressive lane that will be coming out from TOOBASED.
Nice little defensive presence there as two-based. Well, what do they look for here? Fourth pick coming in, and they'll take their carry. The Ursa coming out here, so always something interesting that we like to look at. The Ursa going up against the Timbersaw. A little bit like the Sven that we were talking about in the previous match. He's a hero that doesn't always have to be quite as intimidated by the Timbersaw in terms of getting through that reactive armor. So not really sure how aggressive Simply Two-Based are going to want to be in the lane, but they're at least going to have some potential to try and push forward if the Ursa gets the right positioning. So not a bad choice on their side, at least early on.
And we'll have to see. It doesn't care about the Whirling Death nearly as much as Sven does. Especially, you don't need to really worry about rushing that BKB timing. You might be able to take a little bit more time with this Ursa's build-up. Again, it's a classic Boris hero. We see a lot of teams ban it out versus him, almost as much as we see the Luna banned out versus him. But having this hero fall towards him, it definitely feels pretty good. He will not really hold a candle to that Void Spirit. That's something that will always be sort of an issue with their draft, especially having the AA and the Broodmother. You don't really have that solid lockdown, and up until you maybe get a Basher on that Ursa, you really don't have sort of the gas in the tank to take him down. But really, I'm assuming Two-Based are going to come out pretty ahead in their lanes. As of right now, I feel like they should really win at least 2 out of their 3 lanes, and that's where I hope they ban out at least one more Yuma hero. Of course, they do need a Yuma hero on the D2 Hustlers side, and I'm really trying to scramble and find one because, man, that hero pool has really gotten shrunken down, especially with them taking a carry for themselves in that last phase. There really doesn't feel like there's too much left.
As you said, yeah, a lot of those Yuma heroes taken away. The Faceless, the Sven, PL Inspector banned out in Phase 3, and well, if you're D2 Hustlers, you're left with some options still in the pool, but I don't really know if any of them are fantastic. I suppose things like the Troll and the Jug, Lifestealer as well, are sort of still in there, but well, those aren't heroes that we see quite as often compared to the ones that have already been banned away, which obviously is part of the reason why they were actually banned. But as of right now, D2 Hustlers have other priorities. They're looking for that Yuma hero, but they also need one final ban in here onto presumably the mid option for I Annihilate. They took the Tiny out first. You see the Ember Spirit being taken away now as well. So they're really sort of focusing in on someone with that sort of damage and maneuverability. Don't want to let I Annihilate sort of be that aggressive playmaking hero.
And we could maybe see him, I think the TA is still in the pool. We could also see him move over to that Storm Spirit possibly, but I don't really want to see Storm versus Earthshaker again. We saw it in that previous series. It was a Puck actually versus the Earthshaker, where those really high mobile mid laners that might not have the biggest HP pool, they have to switch up their game plan, maybe go for the Kaya Sanj a little bit earlier. And I feel like that's where they might look for that I Annihilate hero. But it does feel like with this Broodmother, you're really greedy. You might want something that can rotate a little bit easier. That's why that Tiny Band does feel pretty killer. It feels like that's something that they would want. And they will go for the Storm, but it does feel a little bit greedy. You have to be a little bit careful. And again, you need to win your lanes. And that's what Two-Based, I definitely think they're going to be capable of it in this game. If they lose out on any of their lanes, though, it really feels like their timeline is really going to be pushed back. And if they pick up another hero for Yuma, they could just go back for the Void if they really want to. We could see them just, again, lull into that 35, 40-minute game plan. Oh, Naga. Okay. Well, that's a 35, 40-minute hero. This is going to be a little bit of a longer game.
Well, if D2 Hustlers sort of have things their way, it will be, but you talked about Two-Based trying to sort of, or needing really more than trying, to win out their lanes. If they manage to do so, if they can really sort of sweep across this, or maybe even get 2 of the 3, then they are going to have the potential to really sort of shove their way forward, and D2 Hustlers may be denied the sort of time and space that they would need to really get Yuma going on that Naga Siren. So there is going to be a bit of a risk involved, but if all goes well for D2 Hustlers, they should be set up for a bit of a power spike later on in that match. But as I said, I get the feeling Simply Two Base are going to do everything in their power to prevent the game from even getting that deep in the first place.
Yeah, and just really simply two-based Ionite. It's a Pablo hero. It feels really good. It's something that he's really capable of sort of putting the game on his back, and laning versus Void Spirit as well. It's a lane that we don't really get to see too many times. We saw it once before in BTS Pro Series 6, where whoever can get those runes is going to be the person who accelerates their game forward. And if you can have a really good Storm Spirit game, Storm is one of those heroes that, while it does sort of go 50-50, if the Naga is not getting gone on at the beginning of these fights, if you can immediately find that Naga Siren, start on her, get her to maybe be 15% or sorry, 50% HP, then she just has to make the decision to go. You can't really stick around. And that's where I wonder where Yuma will finally decide to make these fights and show up. Because Naga Siren, one of those heroes that we've already seen before in the tournament, Infamous picked it up, and it just feels like you have 400 CS 36 minutes into the game, and you might not even want to show up to fights. You might be mode split push, and that might be the space that two base need to sort of walk into a victory.
Right. That's always sort of the thing with the Naga. One of the reasons why it's not the most popular hero as of right now is that you can create all that time. You can sort of create space, buy time for your hero, as you said, about 400 CS on the Naga, and you're still kind of unsure of exactly where you stand with that hero. So that degree of uncertainty really going to be killer if it does come down to that kind of situation. But D2 Hustlers hoping that that is not going to be the case, that by the time they reach that sort of late game stage, they are going to be good to go with a Naga Siren who can just straight up lead them into team fights. So we'll just have to really see just how effectively that farm gets utilized for Yuma and for D2 Hustlers in general, as we are going to be getting things started here, but we do begin with a pause, a little bit of an issue on the Hustler side, as apparently they've got someone AFK.
Yeah, not sure about that one. And I really do want to see this game really just get underway, because you have Flea on one of his best heroes, you have Monkeys Forever. I really want to see what build he'll end up going on this Broodmother, because now that you have this Naga Siren, it is a little bit obnoxious for you. You are going to play sort of in the same neck of the woods. I'm not sure damage-wise what items you need to go to take down those Naga illusions without losing all of your spiders and one or two Riptides. So I wonder if there is going to be a slight change up after seeing that Naga, or if you're just going to try to make your own game plan. I've seen Monkeys play this hero, like you said, so many times on stream. He plays it whenever he gets the opportunity to. It's really just his most practice. And usually, if he is able to, he really does envelop the game. He makes it about himself. He does everything he can in the enemy jungle to sort of come kill me, come get me, I'm down here, make the Void Spirit come, free farm on the other two heroes. And that's where two base might be able to sort of find the space to get that Orchid, to get that Diffusal Blade, and then really turn up the heat on D2 Hustler's side of the map.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most intimidating parts of that Broodmother, is that depending on how the itemization works, depending on how the early game goes, you're left in one of really two camps. You either have to leave the Broodmother alone, and you just let her farm and or push down your lanes, or that Broodmother attracts enough attention where you really can't afford to ignore it. So, as you said, it's a situation where Monkeys can really pick one way or the other. He's equally adept at doing really either play. So, how much attention will D2 Hustlers have to pay to that Brood? It's all going to depend really on whether or not he can sort of win his lane initially, which, well, we still don't get to see just yet. Apparently, we continue to have some issues. I think that player is still AFK. I'm not entirely sure who it even is, as I don't believe they said, but we do continue to wait here for this one to get underway. But I understand where you're coming from, ET. I am very much sort of excited to get this one underway. You don't really get to see Monkeys Brood in too many official matches, so very much want to see what he can do with that.
Well, and especially, man, two base versus Undying, it just felt like they were so hot. It felt like they were making the plays. It felt like their back was against the wall, and they were really pulling out all the stops, especially in that second game. It just felt so clean to then go up against D2 Hustlers and then have some sort of uncharacteristic mistakes, falling behind a little bit in the team play department, and then losing another one to this Devi Llama Timbersaw. You hate to see it, especially, Devi Llama, Yuma, they're not NA. They are playing over from across the pond. So you want the NA boys to pull out something. You hate to see them really crumble and not play up to what you know they're capable of, especially after that Undying series.
And now is not the time to be giving some ground to the EU boys. Got to hold it down for NA, but we'll see what Simply TOOBASED can do here as we are underway, and it looks like a pretty standard setup right now. Just 2-1-2 across the map. No one's really going to do anything too risky. Annihilate is going to hold on to that ward here, looking for, well, I would assume just one, probably near the river. Over on the other side, Papatuti holding his ward as well. So we'll see if anyone can really get any sort of definitive edge with this early vision, but as of right now, it just looks like it's going to be relatively standard stuff, although Pandago running into Monkeys and Flea here. Monkeys will take down the illusion, so that gets him technically a little bit of gold, but not much more than that. It's just going to be a relatively simple play. Yuma's sort of scouting out with that mirror image. The only thing, though, that does mean if you're 2-base, now you don't really have to be worried about the Naga getting too aggressive on you. There's no damage, there's no lockdown with that mirror image at level 1. So the fact that they're able to scout out that illusion maybe gives them a little bit of an edge over the first minute or two, but not really enough to make too much of a difference, as those illusions are going to try to guard the runes. Monkeys
Yeah, he's trying to get the deny on, yeah. If Fleeg was a little bit lazy, not standing right on top of it, maybe it would have gone their way. And I actually think, yeah, they were able to get 3 out of the 4 bounty runes on the 2-base side. But with Mirror Image level 1, I think Yum is the type of player that won't skill up the Ensnare for really a very long time. We might see it a little bit later, even though a value point would definitely be valuable with the Abaddon. If you do get that silence onto Flea, especially with Inkswell down, you might be able to get a kill going your way. But right now, with the Broodmother, they're just looking to not lose bottom. If they can get Monkeys as high level as possible, once you hit that 6, everything changes for the Brood.
Right. The entire sort of nature of the hero takes on a bit of a different role here. So Monkeys is just going to sort of park it in the bottom lane, try to focus on last hits, try to focus on trying to sort of outduel Yuma, as the mirror image will come through. So going to give him a little bit more in the way of sort of last hitting power. Meanwhile, off to the side, Flea and Pandago are just sort of playing their own game right now, trading out that damage. The Abba, one hit away from getting the curse down, and that's going to prompt the TP. Yeah, Flea not really messing around any further at that point, realizes if he tries to just get out on foot, he could very well have been taken down. But that's going to be his TP used, and that takes him out of the lane. So that could make things a bit more difficult for Monkeys, as he's not going to have his backup for just a few moments, but we already see Pandago now rotating in, looking to apply the pressure.
And yet, Silken Bullet, there we go. Once he hits level 2, the aggression is a little bit harder for Pandago to get out. Perfect doesn't get that 4th hit of Curse of Avernus on him, and has the wave pushing into him. And all of this XP solo going towards the Broodmother, Pandago can really only just try and just chase him around in the trees. Otherwise, there's not much he can do. Without Flea, there's no way for Monkeys to really get those secured ranged creep blast hits unless he wants to use that Silken Bullet, but he really needs it to trade up with this Abaddon. And this is just sort of how it goes. The Brood gets bullied, and then the Brood gets level 6, and then everybody runs.
Yeah, just got to weather the storm early on here, but I do like Pandago trying to sort of make the most of this window that he has right now, right? He's probably not going to get the kill, but he can try and at least keep the Broodmother slightly contained up until that ult sort of comes online. So, got to give him a little bit of credit on that front. He's even going to try and sort of disrupt Flea's play here, as the Grim was, well, going for the stack and or pull, but now he's just going to be run down again, and this is pretty much the exact same scenario we saw play out just a few moments ago. Last time there was a TP on the Grimstroke. This time, no such luck. So Pandago, he's just going to keep on chasing. I don't really think he can get this kill, but Flea, I mean, he was supposed to be in the bottom lane. He spent all of maybe 15 seconds down there now, as he's just getting sort of forced out repeatedly.
And while it is pushing into Monkeys, he doesn't honestly mind it, just because even though Monkeys is not getting a lot of these last hits, he's getting solo XP for it, and we keep talking, it doesn't matter. Once Monkeys hits level 6, it really doesn't matter his first 5-6 minutes, as long as he's able to get it in at least a decent amount of time.
I think that might be part of the reason why Pandago is sparing so much attention to Flea. As I was mentioning earlier, he can try and maybe harass the Brood a little bit, but diminishing returns at this point, so you might as well try and go in onto the Grimstroke instead. Just leave Yuma to his own devices here, really. This 1v1, this is just what you want. The Naga will farm. Pandago's given over more experience just in the same way that Flea is. So this bottom lane's really just going to be kind of left alone, and we'll kind of circle back on it once the Brood sort of hits those levels. So for now, just really going to be a farming focus. Meanwhile, mid, I Annihilate. Well, tries with the Vortex there onto Papatuti, but not really going to do too much damage. That Resonant Pulse Shield is going to absorb most of that, but in sort of typical fashion here, when we see the spirits go up against each other, both mid laners already dangerously low on HP. They really do love to sort of run it down pretty close, but this time, yeah, Papatuti may have gone a bit too far. He is going to try and dissimulate away, but the Cold Feet will come through. Nice stun, though, in from Frugos as he connects with that fissure, and I think without that, the Void Spirit very well could have been taken down. So, clutch play in from the Earthshaker to save his teammate's life.
And very simply, he'll just rotate here. Divine Llama's sort of been cutting the waves, and very similar to the Broodmother, you just want to give this character soul XP. You want the Timbersaw to get the level 6 as fast as you can, and even though it is a 1v1 versus Boris on that Ursa, it will feel a little bit bad with that second point up in Timber Chain. Boris can't really contest with the harass. We'll see if Boris, I think he's got phase boots coming out now that makes it a little bit easier, but this lane really isn't as bad as it used to be. Timbersaw players have really sort of figured this one out by now.
Yeah, Divine Llama maybe having to sacrifice a little bit of his damage potential with no points in the Whirling Death, but 3 points in Timber Chain, 2 points in Reactive Armor means he really doesn't have to be too afraid of Boris. In fact, yeah, pushes in for the damage, and it's the Ursa who's got to be a little bit careful there. So this Timber is looking pretty good so far. 24 last hits on the board for him as well, and now Jubei. Don't want to stand too close on that one. He is going to get hit up by that chain, but at this point, the Timber's a little low on mana. He could pop a Soul Ring. Hold up, Boris. Stunned up here. I don't really know if they can do this, but they're going to give it a go. Boris is relatively low on HP, and the stick has already been used. It looks like Boris is going to be okay for now. Meanwhile, Flea able to get the kill onto Pandago down in that bottom lane with the assistance of the Broodmother. So that is going to be first blood going their way, while mid, I Annihilate. Well, he hit level 6 a little bit earlier than Papatuti, so he's going to try to push in, but that Aether Remnant
hit the creep.
Very nicely placed. Can he keep himself safe to simulate? Okay, gonna get him away. So that's another close call for Papatuti, but he will be able to make it out. But I mean, I appreciate the attempt from Annihilate. He hits level 6 just that little bit earlier and tries to make the most of it before Papatuti was really ready to jump away with the Astral.
And with 3 heroes mid, it is a little bit sad, but the Storm Spirit is not able to contest for these runes. But he really isn't the focus for these first 10 minutes. It is really just going to be focused super hard on these side lanes, making sure the Ursa and Brood get something, and then the Storm will get its space in due time. But they actually eye up a 4-stack.
He's taken all of it. Every last hit is going to go his way. This is brutal for TOOBASED. They wanted this for the Storm, and really they're just not going to get it. They actually will take all of it. There's no one even remotely close to contest it. So Pandago and Papatuti taking advantage of that opportunity, and
well, top Divai
in some trouble, pulling him in with the Vortex. I Annihilate rotates in, so he loses his stack, but they'll get a kill onto Divine Llama elsewhere on the map. So second kill on the board for TOOBASED, and I don't know. If I Annihilate were going to lose that opportunity to take the stacked camp, at least he does turn it into opportunities elsewhere.
And that's something that Divide does need to be incredibly cautious of, and he's got stacks on the other side. That's the benefit of having these double range supports. You're always able to get those super huge stacks up, especially AA and Grimstroke. You just have the abilities to make it happen. But if I Annihilate can TP to towers and then get the kills, that is going to be absolutely massive to accelerate his game. And that's something that D2 Hustlers can't fall into the trap to. And actually,
oh god, they're going down on
Papatuti.
Nice Astral using that final charge to get himself back over the river, but that's surprisingly aggressive for just these two. Cold Feet into Silence, into the Inkswell play, and sure, they can't get the kill, but you are pushing that Void Spirit back a little bit with just your 2 supports. So Papatuti has to sort of take a step back there. He's going to go all the way back to base, actually, looking to heal up as he now starts progress towards that Yules. So once he can pick that up, we might see a little bit more out from him, but for now it's going to be just focusing on finishing that item. Meanwhile, down bot, Divine Llama's actually pushed in to try and deal with monkeys, and this Brood does not appreciate this particular matchup.
And while that Timber Chain damage actually... Oh, monkeys, you mess up here. One more.
Oh, can he somehow get out? Divine
He's got another shot from.
He misses. Chain, though. Misses that too. Monkeys, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. He's going to try and pop the Insatiable Hunger, but yeah.
He got greedy.
Oh, Divine Llama's able to get it done. A couple of misplays there, but eventually he will figure it out. I Annihilate, though, elsewhere on the map, able to find himself another kill. It is going to be onto Frugos, which obviously not quite as valuable as the Broodmother, but the Storm is at least trying to find, as we said before, opportunities elsewhere on the map. So it's not quite going to make up for the loss of his teammate, but at least that Storm is beginning to maybe pick up a little bit more momentum as we push out of the laning stage.
And we will see sort of a weird lane swap up, as now Annihilate is pretty much laning top at this point, and you do want Divine Llama going up versus that Broodmother, especially with all these points in Timber Chain. You're one of the few heroes that can actually kill those spiders as of right now. And it does feel a little bit strange. Without the Whirling Death, it is harder for you to get monkeys in those tree lines, but Divine Llama just makes it work. And Boris is not going to get too much farm. He is sort of moved over to that mid lane, but up until he gets maybe a few more farming items, he doesn't have the power to hit those Ancients just yet, and you should really make that rotation over there pretty soon here. Maybe give the lane up to Jubei or Fleet.
For now, Boris making progress towards the Diffusal Blade. So we are seeing that quite a bit more often from these Ursa picks in recent times as monkeys sniped out a courier there. Okay.
And they've got the ward here too, so they're going to see exactly when monkeys does make that rotation into the jungle. But seen this so many times, just creep cutting with the spiders. Yeah, he needs to dodge it out though, otherwise they just all die to the Timber Saw.
Divide takes out a couple of them, not able to get the full group though. So for now, at least monkeys will be okay. But the chain, not quite on the mark. But Divide, he is putting a lot of sort of time and effort into trying to take down these spiderlings. But if he can do so, then monkeys doesn't really have a whole lot to contribute in this bottom lane, as multiple heroes are sort of maneuvering their way over. Monkeys may not want to stick around much longer. He might just be trapped up, but they're not actually able to hit him up initially, but there's going to be the fissure in to simulate coming through as well, and Monkey should be taken down. One more hit from Papa Tootie gets the job done, and Monkey's unable to keep himself safe.
Now, this is exactly what Monkeys wants, though. He wants these heroes to come down here. They just missed 2 full creep waves trying to push into that bottom tower. Divide will eventually end up going there, but Boris moves over to your triangle and starts farming some of your camps, and he absolutely gets away with it. And Annihilate just still farming pretty much this entire, not enemy triangle, but he farms all of these camps in pretty much one swift go, and not expending too much mana either. The only downside is Yuma is getting to farm this triangle with really no heroes to go into it and punish it, even though you do have level 6 on both of your supports. We're really going to need to wait for those Orchid timings before TOOBASED can make too crazy of a move.
Yeah, but as of right now, you sort of talked about it back during the pause. The Broodmother... Oh, hold on. Splast hitting at point-blank range. Yuma may want to back off a little bit, but they see the opportunity to go on to Annihilate. They're going to try for it, but the Storm, he's still fighting. He's going to get the kill. Can he now zip himself away? Looks like he can. Pandago, I don't think he has the damage for this by himself, but the app is going to keep on chasing just in case a teammate can come in to help. But Annihilate just keeps on making his way through the tree line, and Pandago didn't see him.
Oh, wow. That's unfortunate. He had the straight line. He could have maybe got a glimpse of it. They don't even throw out the skin. I guess they don't have it, but that's really unfortunate. You lose Yuma, and Annihilate gets away with murder.
This Pandago just gave up maybe a second too soon. If he'd have kept on going, as you said, he had a sort of straight line maneuvering his way further south, but they will miss out on that kill. And now Divide might want to be a little bit careful here down bot. There's a couple of heroes on the TOOBASED side who have made their way over, but right now Boris looks like he's a little bit more preoccupied trying to take the tower, while Annihilate is pushing on to Frugos, but he doesn't actually have the mana, even with the Arcane Rune. They tried with the Ice Blast, but Frugos won't get hit by it. Meanwhile, Divide under attack once again. He gets close to getting the kill on the Flea, but now, well, tries to get away with the Timber Chain, but he actually gets hit up by that Cold Feet stun first, and Monkeys Forever will be able to bring him down.
And that's where, up until Frugos gets this Blink Dagger, you aren't able to make plays on the D2 Hustler's side. Aside from killing monkeys down in that bottom lane, that's really been your only play for the past 5 minutes or so, as you haven't been getting a lot of these power runes onto Papa Tootie. You haven't been seeing those haste or DD runes, and that would make his game a lot simpler, where he is working very fast towards that Yule Scepter. Then maybe we can see him try to make another attempt onto Monkey's life, but we're starting to see those Orchids come out from the TOOBASED side, and it feels like they're getting a little bit too much map right now.
Yeah, jumping out to about a 1k net worth lead as Annihilate sees his opening. They're going to jump in. Frugos, though, nice ult. Buying some time. Boris, though, does not care. Pops the ult, pushes in. Should be able to get Frugos, but now they got to turn their attention onto Divide, but they pull him back into the Vortex. The Bola comes in as well. Even the Ice Blast being deployed. Divide Llama Okay, Timber chains his way forward. He'll take down Boris. That, I didn't actually think he was going to be able to get that kill, and now the fight is turning. Jubei's in trouble. Monkeys Forever not really in a great position to help him. He's trying to go all in for that kill onto the Timber, but at this point, they're not going to be able to get it. The Ice Blast sort of wore off, so they're not going to get the Shatter. The Monkeys will fall back, and Jubei was still able to TP out, but that fight turns so rapidly. They go from looking for multiple kills to getting just Frugos and losing 2 of their own.
And that's where you still have to respect the Vailama, especially with how much golden XP he has been able to amass. He does so much damage. If you do overcommit, you wait after that enrage, you're still going to take an insane amount of pure damage. And it really was close. If it was maybe 1 second longer on that really just the Ice Blast, you would have been able to get that second spawn Spiderlings, and that would have been a dead Timbersaw. But now Monkeys with this Orchid, you have to be much more careful with who you bring to this bottom lane. Even though it feels like they do need to kill this Brood, they need to shut her down a little bit, but again, this is exactly what Monkeys wants. Monkeys wants to create space for his other heroes, and they especially want to get the space on the Ursa, because that's the hero they really need to sort of finish off and top off these kills.
And how is Boris doing right now? He's got the 2 Blades of Alacrity, but not quite there to the Diffusal. He is really closing in on it, though, so should have it maybe in the next minute or 2 at the most. So the damage will be there. The Orcas are picked up now in their sort of entirety, because you do have 1 up on both the Brood and the Storm. And well, they're going to look for something off the back of this. Yuma, though, does get that Manta style up, so in terms of a direct threat to him, the Manta could potentially bail him out of that silence play. He'll have that in the mirror image to try and avoid a lot of that lockdown. But for the rest of the lineup, not 100% sure how well they will cope. The Yules is complete on the Void Spirit, so Papa Tootie may not be too much of a target, but the supports will be in some danger, and Davai Lama as well. He's relatively tanky, but if they can get multiple silences onto him, it could still spell trouble for him. But as of right now, D2 Hustlers going for a bit of a smoke play here. Frugos and Pandago are going to maneuver their way through their own jungle, but where can they really go? I guess they could try to go onto the Brood, but Monkeys has been sort of dancing around them over the last couple of attempts.
If they get him with the Echo, ooh, Frugos
Wants it.
Oh, he's gone.
He's got it!
Oh, God.
Huh, Monkeys. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. That's an Echo Slam onto the Brood and all the Spiderlings, and Frugos really didn't even need the backup, just gets it done himself there. That's really just a crazy valuable play. The Earthshaker just gets it done himself, and now, uh-oh.
Fleet thought it was real.
That's unfortunate. Goes in for the Soul Bind onto some illusions, and now, oh god, Davai.
Oh,
he wants
now
in.
mid.
Nice play from Frugos as well, going for the Fissure Stun. Flea is able to back himself up, and now Papa Tootie into the fight. They throw down the Remnant. That'll pull Jubei in. He goes for the Ice Blast at point-blank range, and it is going to be at least somewhat helpful, but it still won't save Jubei's life. He will be taken down. Frugos, though, did get taken down himself, and now here comes Monkeys in with the Silence, but there's that Eul Scepter again from the Void. He's going to be able to purge it away, and now trying to get out with the Astral Step. Monkeys, though, I mean, he wants to keep going. How much further can they really chase, though? The Diffusal Blade will come through. The Dissimulate, however, from Papa Tootie is going to be able to create that separation. Now Davai trying to get in, but he's silenced up before he can really do anything, and Papa Tootie will be taken down. Now Davai Lama is actually dead as well. This is going horribly, and Yuma, he's got to just bail him out with a song.
And I'm surprised Yuma didn't song just a little bit earlier. Maybe they thought they could get the return kill onto Boris and then song afterwards, but it just wasn't in their cards. And it's the double Orchid Diffusal timing that's really winning them these fights. And even though you did get that pick off on Monkeys Forever bottom, once the Shaker goes down, all of your control is out the window. He's really your only hero that can provide that AoE, and now Roche, it is starting to sort of snowball in that 2-base favor. And while Yuma wasn't touched still, he's working up for a Diffusal Blade of his own. It feels pretty awful, the place that they're in right now.
Yeah, a rather sizable setback, losing that team fight. D2 Hustlers were obviously not exactly running away with the game, but they were in a position where I think you would sort of count them to be either slightly ahead or even with their opponents, and now that momentum is beginning to shift. The net worth has already sort of spilled over into simply 2-base hands, and they've got I Annihilate sitting here on an Aegis for the next 4.5, so they were already in a position with those Orchids as well as the Diffusal to start getting a bit more aggressive. Now, they don't need to be quite as concerned about the consequences of that aggression while they have 2 lives up on the Storm. So I would very much anticipate 2-base trying to sort of keep the tempo up as high as possible right now and really put D2 Hustlers in a position where they're going to be overly reliant on this Naga Siren and her farm.
And they might try to make some plays onto Boris, but again, Boris is working towards that Blink Dagger. Once he gets it, then everybody needs to be careful on the D2 Hustler side, and in mid, it just seems like Pandego gonna go down here most likely.
Yeah, he can't get himself out of there. Flea able to pick up the kill. Divine Llama did go for a bit of a drive-by, not gonna be able to, oh god. Okay, not gonna be able to pick up that kill or save his teammate. Now he actually doesn't get Jubei either. This is getting a little bit rough. He's gonna pop that Yules, but that's not enough. Even the barrier out from the hood isn't enough to save him.
And it's unfortunate he did end up losing the regen rune on the Storm Spirit, but still, you have the Blink Dagger coming out on Boris now. You're gonna start to get aggressive, and this is all time you make these plays mid. Monkeys Forever is still bottom. He's still pushing in your waves. He's constantly getting farm. He's sitting at 2.6k right now. And again, I wonder what item he's gonna go for. After the Orchid, he could really go anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Could see more damage for him. Could see the Blink Dagger or BK.
Yeah, just the Ags.
Yeah. Aghanim Scepter. All right. So, just going to give him really just more of the same, right? Just further emphasizing what's already been an advantage for him. So, that Ag's not quite done yet, but I mean, he's only about, what? Yeah, 1,000, 1,200 gold away from it now. So, it's going to make life even more difficult for D2 Hustlers. They were already starting to sort of lose control of the map, and it's going to get worse once that Ags is completed.
And while Yuma has that diffusal blade now, he will be a little bit more obnoxious. I really don't feel like anything that Yuma can add to these fights is really going to come into play. Because with the supports that they have on the 2-base side, they can sit so far back, they can really just stand on the shoulders of the Storm and the Ursa. And the way that they've built, they can really get aggressive whenever they want. And right now, this is the worst feeling for D2 Hustlers. You have Divine Llama and Yuma in the same lane, and they're not trying to kill monkeys. They're trying to get a little bit of vision, but it's a really easy read to make if you're on the 2-base side. If you see both of these heroes in the same place, ooh, monkeys, oh, they use the Echo, but he's still dead.
Yeah, they still get the kill. Okay, it's not going to be too bad, but that is an unfortunate whiff for Frugos. He's not going to get the damage, but Boris? Okay. This is a little bit iffy. The song will come out. I Annihilate, though. That's a problem. Zipped into it. So they're going to lock him down. Can they actually kill him off, though? Jubei is sort of waiting for his moment, looking for the chance to drop down that Ice Blast. But I Annihilate, he's actually going to get silenced up, and he's dead. That is going to be the Aegis popping, so he's back into the fight. But the problem is, where is his teammates? And the answer is, they've already fallen back. He's going to get hit up. Totem locks him down. They get the Ensnare out as well from Yuma. And that goes pretty damn horribly. So Yuma actually is able to make quite the difference there with that Song of the Siren, completely changing the nature of that fight, and 2-base were not ready for it.
And it feels a little bit sad because you had so much knowledge. You placed those 2 wards seeing that the Naga wasn't top, wasn't in the triangle, so that she has to be in her bottom jungle, that they aren't making that play, they aren't getting monkeys out nearly fast enough. And without any Yule Scepters, without any instant disable, it really is just the Storm Spirit. And without BKBs, Yuma was just able to perfectly time the ultimate. And you're not purging off the Enrage, and rather the Enrage is not making the song any slower. And Frugus is going to go down, but ooh, I don't think they're going to lose anyone else. Pandego's just watching.
Papatuti's trying to get away. Pandego TP's out. Divine Llama making his way out of this fight as well. Now Boris, a little bit risky, but Annihilate's in there.
Two. Or no, they both used the rocket on the Yules.
That's not good. Okay, they still got it. Yeah, the Electric Vortex comes in. The silence comes through from Flea. And Papatuti will be taken down. Now Divine Llama. Where does he go?
Ice Blast.
Ice Blast will come through. Divine Llama silenced up again. Jesus. So many silences out from the side of a 2-base. They're hitting him up with 3 or 4 of them per fight, and there's no way out for Divine Llama. Without that maneuverability, it's really just the Yules to save him, and that was not enough. So they are going to be able to find some pretty valuable pickups there. 3 dead across the east side jungle and the middle lane, as 2-base will really kind of turn that one around.
And Fleet working on the Aghanim Scepter. Once he has that Dark Portrait, Yuma does need to be very careful. And oh, I Annihilate. He had the vision on Frugos with the Arcane Rune. He just feels confident to make that play.
Okay, all the way in, and now Yuma
needs to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, there's going to be the song. He needs the bailout play. And I think he's out, although he's actually stopping. He may want to go back in as Papatuti going to make the initiation, jumping in. They're looking for I Annihilate. Can they lock him down in time? Not quite yet. The Storm trying to get himself out of here, though, but he doesn't really have enough to fully make his escape. So
and now Boris.
Annihilate dead. Boris on the run. Can he get himself away? Waiting for the blink. Will be able to get it. I think he's going to get out of here. I don't know if D2 Hustlers can close the gap. Divine Llama, though, is going to give it a go. Timber chaining his way forward. He's going to need maybe 1 or 2 more of those to really catch up, however. But he and Papatuti, they do continue to push forward, but I sincerely doubt that they're going to get much of anything here, but they do get close to
Oh, they
monkeys.
caught him.
The
They switched
Yules.
targets. They've got another Yules, but he doesn't have another step. Okay, he's way too fast with that Ags.
Yeah, he's just going to get out of here, TPing himself out once he's further into the tree line. So it's a nice play from D2 Hustlers to try and change up the targeting there, going in onto the Brood instead when Monkey sort of thought he was safe, but they're not quite able to fully make that play happen.
And up until you have that BKB or a Kaisange on the Storm Spirit, it does feel like that play is pretty difficult to make. Yuma tried to find Flea in the top lane, and they really do need the support coming in from Jubei and Flea if they do want to make sort of crazy plays like that. After they do get the kill on the Frugos, they immediately get the D ward, so it feels like the play honestly didn't end up being too worth it, but now, TOOBASED, they're sort of waiting for their next timing. They can still win these fights pretty convincingly, but they need to really be careful with Yuma's song up until they get those double BKBs.
Part of Tarask out for Yuma now on this Naga Siren, so he is really turning himself into that sort of tanky monstrosity as Papatuti. Got caught out there in the east side jungle just for a moment, but he's going to be able to jump himself away. Divine Llama, meanwhile, in with the chakram, just sort of creating a bit of a smoke screen for his teammates to fall back. So it's a nice play, but now Hustlers, they want back in. They're looking for the fight, pushing their way forward. Monkeys is the closest hero to them, but I do believe the Brood should be able to fall back.
Yeah, and they're just going to, moving into the enemy triangle. TOOBASED are able to get a little bit more farm. They are splitting the map just a bit. They know that they don't want to fight up until they have those BKBs. One's going to be finished on the Storm Spirit. Boris, still 2,000 away, he's going to need to find his farm somewhere else. And with this heart, D2 Hustlers feel comfortable enough to sort of send these illusions onto the tower and post up on the high ground. But I can't imagine they stick around here for too long. They want to use the Echo, but they don't want to give too many opportunities for TOOBASED to really find that rebuttal. And yeah, they're just taking the map control while they can.
Might as well. You've got the window, you got the opening. Yuma pushing his way onto that tier 2 tower, and really no one from TOOBASED here to do much about it. Boris was kind of hanging out nearby, but the Ursa shifts focus a little bit. He's going to try and go for the creep cutting play instead, but very wisely TP's out. Looked like Frogos was potentially in a position to sort of move his way over. So the Ursa doesn't want to get caught out there, especially that far away from any sort of friends or backup. But this is the position that we're sort of seeing TOOBASED slowly but surely getting pushed into. Their ability to sort of maintain that map control that was in their hands earlier is kind of slipping just a little bit.
And at this point, you don't want to be giving up kills, and I think, yeah, gonna lose all of the Spiderites top. Monkeys isn't able to keep them alive. Divine Llama really has just been on it. He has almost 300 CS, not because it's actually 300 CS, just because he's been the really Spire defense force. And even though they do have that AA, they haven't been able to consistently set up on that Timbersaw. And they are going to start the Roche here as well. And TOOBASED, they've got to know about this. This is it is pretty slick. They do have all the waves in, and with this ward, I mean, TOOBASED, they've got to make the call soon. And Boris actually doesn't have TP. They might not know about this.
Yeah,
This might
I
be free.
don't think that they know. They don't have their scan up right now either, so D2 Hustlers are just in here, and there's really nothing that their opponents can do about it. Although, okay, Spiderlings will come in, so they realize it's going down now. The problem is, no one can do anything about it. The Ice Blast, oh god, okay, I Annihilate. He's all the way in, can he get it? No,
Oh, no.
He's not going to get it, but the song isn't going to affect him as that BKB is still active, so he's at least going to be able to back himself away, or maybe not. Devi wants to chase after him. Annihilate, though, will be able to TP himself out, but now that leaves Jubei in a bit of an awkward spot. Frugos is going to be able to stun him up here, gets a secondary stun down with the Enchant Totem, and this AA literally has nowhere to go. He is trapped in a corner, ensnared up by Yuma, and Divine Llama will take him down, but it was worth a shot if you're the Storm, right? He zips in, he doesn't get it, but he's able to get the BKB activated and back out before they can turn onto him.
And I don't know if there are just too many illusions or something covering it. There's still an Aghanim shard actually in the Roshan pit, but there was a cheese on the ground for so long there. It would have felt awful if he ended up dying, just barely had enough mana to zip out, but I definitely feel like he could have gotten the cheese, just maybe too many units on top of him. And you do have the Aghanim Scepter on Flea. You should have that BKB coming out on Boris, yeah, and just 300 gold here. But again, D2 Hustlers, they're just going to take their time. They have this Naga Siren. I do think TOOBASED are starting to get the tools that they could necessarily fight Yuma, but you have to be so careful. And Flea, yeah, he's running, but I think he might be caught.
Inkswell Stun's not even actually going to connect, but Annihilate, well, he tried. He went in there for the Electric Vortex, but very quickly realizing he wasn't actually going to be able to save his teammate. So Flea will be sacrificed. Papatuti gets the kill. And Hustlers at this point up by 7k net worth, but can they get objectives off the back of these kills? That is going to be the question. That Dark Portrait illusion is actually going to push Frugos and the wave back a little bit here, so they don't have an immediate opportunity, but they've got 4 heroes grouped up in the middle lane. It feels like they could still give it a go, but it looks like instead the focus for them is going to be on farming rather than pushing. As Yuma just sort of camping out here in the east side jungle, why not? He's just going to keep on building himself up as he's working now towards the Scotty pickup.
With the smoke, they would love to find Papatootie, but this Invis rune might actually just ruin their plans. There is a sentry on the high ground now, but Papatootie, will he decide to break it here? If he does, everybody is here. Oh, they see
there's another sentry.
Papatootie.
They've got it. Blowing him up right away. Clutch sentry placed down there, I believe, by Jube. And Papatootie, there's really nothing you can do about that one. If it gets just thrown down directly in your face, there's no way he really could have reacted in time to save himself there. So it's a great pickup for the side of TOOBASED. Now, that's going to free them up a little bit more sort of around this top lane and the north side jungle. So they could look for some further farm. Monkeys Forever is currently looking for the tower, and I think he's going to get it. There is a glyph, though, from D2 Hustlers. They will be able to pop it, but now Annihilate, he's going to zip his way in. They're going to go on to Divine Llama. Do they have the damage to bring him down? No, but now Frugos. Wait, was that just a glitch? I think that was just a, yeah, that was just a glitch. I think he still hits it with the Echo, but it's not enough for the kill. As Annihilate, okay, time to bail out, zipping as far as he can while TPing home.
And really, this game is going to go, I think, really long. You do have that Dark Portrait on Flea. He's been very obnoxious. It makes the Naga so fast, pretty much constantly at that 520, almost haste movement speed. And it's hard for them to really push in. Force is sticking around top and kind of freaking me out a little bit here, but
this is not a play he can make.
More up here? They're trying to bring heroes, but...
Okay.
Oh, Pendago might get his ult popped. No, gonna get saved out. Oh, Frug.
Ooh, look at that. Getting all of those spiderlings. Monkeys not quite able to manage them, but you said it's sort of making you a little bit nervous. I'm feeling the same way. Monkeys is still here now as well, and Boris still hasn't left. This just feels, I don't know, like it's not really worth what they're trying, and yeah, Monkeys is going to bail out. Yuma can't get to him in time, so everybody's going to get home. Boris eventually sort of abandoned that top lane as well, so whatever they were trying, it's not going to, oh god, it's not going to work. Papatootie, though, jumped in on. That's a long zip in from the storm. They don't get it. Flea's actually going to die instead, and that's it. And Annihilate doesn't have any more mana. He can't actually keep this fight going. All he has left he's going to use to try to get away, but it's still not enough. Devi pushing his way forward, going in for the Chakram into the Whirling Death. He's got the kill, and now he's in onto Jube as well. Ancient Apparition forced to use the... Actually, that was not his Eul Scepter. I think that was the Timbersaw's Euls. So, Devi Llama Eulsing himself there, but it really doesn't matter. He got the kills that he wanted. They pick off the Storm, they take down Flea. Jube would have been nice as an extra, but they don't really need that kill for that fight to be a success.
And with Jube not being sort of point-blank range... Oh, Jube!
Oh,
what have you done?
That's a Naga Siren. That's gonna happen. That not showing enough respect, not having the separation.
And with Flea getting picked off so... I mean, really just a few moments ago, it feels like they're just going to push up onto this high ground. You need to get that Dark Portrait out. Try hitting onto Pendago or Divine Llama. You do have that Silken Bowl, you do have the Shard, so it is going to cause that mischance. It is up to 80%, and Yuma does not have an MKB or anything in the works. And actually, Aegis Reclaimed, if he doesn't have enough mana for Song, they do have to be careful here.
He actually used another spell there, so he still doesn't have the Song, but it doesn't look like TOOBASED are going to be able to catch up in time, but...
Boris is hunting, but...
Yeah, they're looking for it. BKB popped on the Ursa. Where's the reinforcements, though? We do see Monkeys starting to come in on the back line, but... Or from the back side, rather, but he's not going to get there in time. Annihilate zipping in as well, but he's not going to be able to make anything happen either. So, I feel like at this point, the window has sort of passed. Yuma still doesn't have the mana, but they're not going to be able to catch him as Flea's going to get locked down. Frugos in with the stun as well. The follow-up comes out from the totem, and this is where it goes bad. Flea, though, still alive. He's actually going to be able to get off the Soulbind into the Ice Blast, and they might turn this. Yuma's dead. Yuma's dead. Divine Llama's going to TP out, and he won't make it home. That is a pretty big mistake from the side of D2 Hustlers. 2 of their cores dead. Now Papatootie. Nope. Going to get caught out. Annihilate's able to zip in onto him. Frugos, he's long gone. Yeah, he's not going to stick around there. But that's all 3 of the cores dead. Simply TOOBASED. I mean, they lose Flea, but... I mean, no offense, Flea. Love you, but who cares? His death is not going to factor in there considering all that they can get in exchange.
Just no respect for that Ice Blast. And Yuma, again, he got the cheese passed over to him, but didn't have enough mana for that Song. Wasn't playing sort of the defensive offense game. and just gets taken down. And Pandago wasn't in a position to really help his teammates either. They ran out of gas and they just stuck around and 100% got punished for it.
Okay, Annihilate starting to feel himself a little bit there as he zipped into the base, just making sure that there's nobody sort of sitting right up against that wall that he could have potentially picked off. But once he sees that the coast is clear and that everybody left alive on D2 Hustlers has fallen back, he will help Boris take down that tier 2 tower mid. So quite a lot of the net worth lead for D2 Hustlers is starting to slip away. They were up by somewhere in the realm of 11 to 12,000. Now it's only about a third of that mark. So here comes Simply TOOBASED looking to mount quite the surge to get themselves back into the game.
And Monkeys, once he gets this Hex, this is exactly what he needs. This is the item. He had that BKB eyed up for quite a while, but I think this is exactly what he needs. This could allow him to get on top of the Earthshaker, get on top of Papa Tootie, the hero they've been struggling to kill for the longest time. And at the same time, I wonder why Papa Tootie hasn't made a break for that Ags or for that BKB really a little bit sooner, because while he does have the works coming in now, it feels like you just sort of stopped farming on this Void Spirit for just a little bit, and you definitely feel that he fell behind a little bit too far. And while he is very farmed, he is keeping up with it net worth-wise with his peers, with the other cores, just not having those crucial items a little bit sooner. It feels a little bit bad for this Earth Spirit, and this might be a little bit more time allotted to the 2-base side. And Storm Spirit, one of those heroes, you go into that late game situation, you get the Aghanim Scepter, you get those big team fight spells, and then it feels like the team fights are going to start going into 2-base way.
They're at least able to clean up some Spiderlings there, so that's going to get them some gold. But yeah, this is sort of a ticking time bomb to a certain extent if you're looking at the D2 Hustlers lineup. Yuma is going to continue to build up, sure, but so too will the heroes on the Simply 2-base side, and at a certain point, your Naga can only get so strong. We're not close to that sort of critical mass just yet,
Flea.
but
Oh, bye.
Yeah, there's no way out there. He is completely caught out, so well, they will take him down. Flea does have a buyback, though, if he's needed for the next fight. Otherwise, on the sidelines for 60 seconds. However, over on the other side of the map, Boris and Monkeys, they're looking for the split push here. There is going to be a TP back from Frugos, though, so if they do try for this, he could try to punish it. The Naga Siren's TPing in as well, but they're not going to get quite what they wanted. There's already one TP out from Boris, and Monkeys... Oh, Monkeys, he's not gone. He wasn't able to get himself out. That...
Ooh, Frug.
They did it again. The Yule's actually sort of canceling out the ult, and now the Fissure won't hit either. Yeah, that's laugh-worthy right there. Monkeys is just going to walk away, and that's a big missed opportunity for D2 Hustlers.
Yeah, and it's one that felt so clean when they got the kill on Flea mid that if they got the Monkeys kill, that's that sort of rat that you need to sort of weed out of your lineup. If you're able to kill him, you're very easily able to put pressure on those mid racks again. But instead, you struggle to find the kills, you struggle to get it done. And now I think Jubei, yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, he's dead. He puts up as much of a fight as he can there, able to hit the Ice Blast at point blank, but Yuma doesn't care. He's able to find that kill. Actually, no, he's not. Papa Tootie got it, excuse me, but they will be able to find that pickoff. The Ancient Apparition would need buyback to get back into the fight. However, I do want to point out at this point, that Ags is picked up on Annihilate, so he's got himself that AoE Vortex, and as you said, we get later and later into the match. This is where the Storm Spirit really starts to shine even further.
And once we see that 2x overload attack bounce, possibly followed up by that electric wave, that is when really you have to be careful, because you're just going to die if you're next to those Naga illusions, and that's where D2 Hustlers, their position game needs to be on point. And with the Roshan respawning, see, it does have a refresher shard. Ags would have been nice too, but you're going to have that double Echo Slam possibly, and nobody's scouting it out just yet. I believe it is one of the earlier timers. I think Jubei is going to scout it out with his AA Blast right now, but this is going to be the converging point where that Aghanim Scepter on the Storm is really going to come into play, as well as that Hex on the Broodmother. And Broodmother really just has free reign in these fights to get really in that backline. If they can mess up the initiation coming in from Frugos, there's still a situation where if you get that Dark Portrait down onto Yuma, you're able to get the link on him, kite him around for just a little bit. People can still die in this Ice Blast very easily.
And now we see Monkey's picking himself up a tier 4 item. He's got the Trickster's Cloak, so it's going to be even
obnoxious.
harder. Yeah, like how exactly do you get directly onto this Broodmother right now? He's tanky, he's got evasion, he can turn himself literally invisible, so you're going to be hard-pressed to lock him down, but D2 Hustlers...
Into the pit.
Yep. They're going after Roche, but that portrait will be sent in. Divine Llama, though, timber chaining across the river. That's a bit of a risky one, but as of right now, TOOBASED not quite in a position to punish that one immediately, and if they do, they leave themselves open for a counterplay. So they always have to be aware of where Yuma is. As, yeah, Boris, I don't know about this one. He's got the BKB, he will pop it, but now he's actually got to try and fight his way out of this one, or at least fall back, as he is saving the Earthshock to presumably get over the wall, but he's actually got the blink for that instead.
And they've swapped positions. Look, they all got kited away from the pit. If they sneak this,
they actually get it in time. Yuma, he's coming in, but he doesn't get the song. Song is not used. I Annihilate takes the Aegis. The Silence actually deployed onto Yuma as well, into the leash from that Soulbind, into the double hex. They don't quite have the firepower for this, but they take Roshan, they get all those Roche goodies, and they back everyone away. That is one of the sneakiest Roches I think I've ever seen, and it works out so well for TOOBASED.
And they just got away with murder. They actually just got away with absolutely everything. Flea, now, I don't think you give the refresher over to... Yeah, you're going to have it over on Monkeys Forever just so you do have that double Hex, double Orchid. But still, that is wild. You just chase a little bit too far out of the pit. Yuma gets perfectly silenced from Flea, and Flea is showing why Grimstroke is one of the best heroes that he can play. It's been a very quiet Grimstroke game. He's been getting picked off here and there, but you really feel the impact, and every single time Yuma does show these illusions, he creates those dark portraits, he sends them out to the lanes, and it does feel like TOOBASED, as they go later and later into this game, they're getting more and more opportunities for D2 Hustlers to make those small mistakes.
Yeah, and the longer this goes on, those small mistakes are going to turn into bigger and bigger misplays when you're running low on resources, you're running down some of these buybacks, the death timers are really just sort of ticking up more and more and more. So it's really just a matter of execution for D2 Hustlers. They really can't afford any mistakes, as we see lenses coming out on both sides, one for the Earthshaker, one for that Grimstroke. So you were mentioning it's been kind of quiet for Flea to this point, but I mean, he's got the Ags, he's got the Lens, and Pandago's going to get jumped in on. No, he's able to get away with the Glimmer, but now I Annihilate wants to push in onto Papatootie, not actually going to be able to catch him out.
And we do see the Shard on Papatootie a little bit strange, so we don't see it every single game. It doesn't affect anything except for making the ring just a little bit bigger, but going to allow him to kite heroes maybe a little bit more, but we are sort of devolving into a weird late game situation where the Naga has so much farm. She's almost coming up on 600 last hits 40 minutes into the game. That's a wild rate, but when has Yuma really gotten the opportunity to hit heroes? I feel like those opportunities have really been few and far between, and without any racks claimed just yet, it feels like D2 Hustlers are very hesitant to sort of get those game-winning fights going.
And unfortunately, this is the scenario we were sort of worried about for D2 Hustlers at the start of the match, talking about, as you said, a situation where you've got, 400 CS on the Naga. It's even higher than that here, but 400 CS, 40 minutes in, and you're still not entirely sure where you stand with this hero in relation to your opponents. So that's not good. Yuma's been getting every single opportunity to farm, and they still don't know if he's enough to lead them to a victory. But, yep, big play on the Monkeys Forever. Can they lock him down? Okay, the disc is going to do very little. Never mind. Okay. Thought maybe there was a brief moment where he could get away, but no, the Aeon Disc delays the death. It can't actually prevent it. So that is Monkey's dead.
Either.
Yeah, where's his money? He doesn't have enough. Okay. That could be concerning. He's down for 80 seconds. So D2 Hustlers, they're fighting into Aegis Cheese and a Refresher Shard, but maybe they can make something happen here as Yuma's sending those illusions forward. That is a long chain from Divine Llama as he does take that talent for it. And he's into the base. They're going to try and get the tier 3 tower. There's going to be the Dark Portrait, though, coming out. So that is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Yuma's going to take a step back here while they deal with that portrait first. Oh, and Annihilate in. Electric Vortex comes through, but he does get hexed up. Yeah, he's just straight up dead. That's going to be the Aegis taken away from him. He is back up into the fight, though, in a few more seconds. But at this point, TOOBASED, that's a problem. Frugos comes in, dropping down the ult, but there's going to be the Soulbind into the double silence. Maybe they can start to turn this around. Frugos taken down. Annihilate in again, getting down that AoE Vortex. Papatootie, though, still able to get away with the Dissimulate. Boris, meanwhile, dropped low himself. He does eat the cheese, so he's not going to be dead just yet, but he's hexed up, and he's completely isolated from his reinforcements. Boris will fall immediately, though, popping that buyback, but they still don't have Monkeys Forever. I don't know if they want to go back in, as Yuma is just going to pop the song and TP home.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate without an really just a Hex on Flea. That was the double Dark Portrait. You had two of the strongest illusions in the game hitting up, and none of these heroes go down. You don't have that lockdown. You buy back on Boris. As soon as those Naga illusions start hitting into the Ursa, there really is nothing that he can do. And even though he has that flicker, it just doesn't matter. The Hex comes out from Divine Llama, and really, game-winning Hex. You were able to find that initial pickoff onto the Storm Spirit, get the Aegis out of his hands, and the Storm really doesn't feel like he has enough mana as of yet, which sounds weird 44 minutes into this game, but you don't have that Bloodstone, you don't have that Shivas, you don't have that large sum of int to work with, so after a while, it just feels like it's going to get to be too much. Meanwhile, on the other side, you didn't get any damage, you didn't get to hit that tier 3 tower, but without Boris's buyback, this is definitely an opening, sort of a win condition that's presented itself.
Annihilate stunned up by the Assimilate. Okay, BKB keeps him alive though. He's going to zip his way forward. He's looking for a target, but really no immediate hero for him to hit up. They're trying to get onto Papatuti, and they are going to hit somebody up with the Vortex, but it's actually only Pandego. Papatuti was able to save himself with the Yule Scepter, and now Boris. This is turning into an absolute disaster. Flea and Jubei are already dead. Boris pops a BKB, but it's going to be running down on time, and at this point, he's actually dead before the BKB even ends.
And this is the win condition presenting itself. It's all up to the Storm Spirit now to push out these waves to try and get some sort of counterplay. It feels like TOOBASED have really lost the opportunity, and looks like Trickster Cloak will get Monkeys Forever out of dodge, but still, you do have the buyback on Flea. You are going to be very obnoxious, and I don't know if Yuma will be confident enough to show his main hero, but still, this is a really big opening for D2 Hustlers to exploit.
They have to try and take advantage of this. Obviously, you don't want to overcommit, but this kind of window, 80 seconds without the Ursa, you got to try and do something here as Divine Llama is pushing forward. Backdoor protection, though, is coming back into play, just for a moment. And yeah, they're going after two lanes. Oh god, that is a long ensnare, but there's going to be the zip in from Annihilate, but he's not actually going to commit for it fully, and Flea, he's just dead. Stunned up, silenced up, hexed up for good measure, so Flea will go down. That's his buyback expended, and TOOBASED are starting to run out of resources here. Tier 3 tower will be taken down, two heroes dead, neither one of them can buy back into the match, so at this point, if you're D2 Hustlers, honestly, I feel like it should be sort of full steam ahead for them. They're being maybe a little bit hesitant still, but there's really no need. Unless Monkeys can make some sort of miracle play, or Annihilate gets a 5-man...
Oh, Jubei.
5-man Vortex, it's really not going to be enough to change it, as Jubei will be taken down. His buyback, though, is available, but I don't really know if he wants to commit it at this point. He may not have much of a choice. If they really are going to lose 2 full lanes of Rax, then he might want back into the fight with that Ice Blast, but as of right now, he's not going to pull the trigger. That's going to be 2 full lanes of Rax taken, and now he'll buy back. Okay.
And it feels strange because they really did just run out of objectives to get, and I can't help but feel like TOOBASED, they could still get the fight. They just need to get on top of these key heroes. But D2 Hustlers are not giving him any opportunity. Divine Llama, his positioning has been absolutely perfect this game. Same with Pandego. Every single time they want to try and get in on these backline heroes, and it's such a low kill game because the kills just aren't being found. They keep on making an attempt onto the Void Spirit, but Papatuti, the man without any defensive items besides this Yule Scepter, has just been too hard for them to pin down. Before they were able to kill him in the Vortex. Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold up. Annihilate. He tried to zip onto the back line. That BKB does eventually come through, though, so he is going to be able to fall back, but it's still looking a little bit rough. Jubei's been caught. The Aether Remnant's going to pull him in, and Papatuti finds the kill. That's his buyback. So, Ancient Apparition, he's down for 85 seconds. It does buy enough time, though, for the likes of Flea and Monkeys Forever to rejoin the engagement, so they're both back in, but it's getting a little bit rough for Simply TOOBASED, and as you were mentioning, it's so frustrating for them because, theoretically speaking, they should still have means of getting into this fight and trying to take it successfully. It's just the execution hasn't really been there for them.
And now, I know you do have this late game Storm Spirit, but all of the timings that you would like to see, he really hasn't gotten the farm or the levels to sort of carry this one out. You don't have that 25 on the table. You don't have that Electric Rave really coming in here. And now Yuma, there's really very few things he needs to be afraid of with Pandego sitting behind him. I think this is just going to be Megas.
Yeah, he's going all in for this, and I don't think there's anything that's really going to force him back, because that Soulbind, well, I mean, it does come through. It's nice, but oh, okay. Vortex coming out as well. Boris wants in for the fight, but he is actually going to get locked down almost immediately. Didn't pop the BKB. He will deploy it now, though. But at this point, I feel like it's a little bit too late. He gets rooted up by the Ensnare anyway, as the Naga Siren does have that Aghanim Scepter, so he doesn't care about the magic immunity, and now they're pushing in. Boris dropping low. Can they get him away? He's going to try to get out with Inkswell, but the Remnant pulls him in. Boris is dead. Annihilate dead as well. The buyback will be committed by the Storm, but at this point, this might just be it. Yuma comes in with the ult, dropping down that song. Annihilate, though, does get off the BKB, but he and Monkeys Forever need an absolute miracle here to turn this fight around, and I don't think they're going to get it, as Monkeys is pulled back by the Remnant. Jube's going to try to throw in that Ice Blast, though. It does connect onto Yuma. If they can really sort of isolate and bear down, yep, they've got it. Yuma will go down. Immediate buyback coming through, though, from that Naga Siren, and now every buyback is going to be deployed, as Monkeys Forever will pop his as well. And Devi silenced up, in some trouble. Papatuti buying back, going to look to rejoin the team, but Devi actually not in as much danger as I thought he was. He's going to be able to take Jubei down, but he's still sort of stuck in enemy territory, but he's so tanky right now that they can't actually finish him off, as the final lane of racks will be taken. Tier 4 towers dropping low as well, as they will both fall, and now the Ancient's been exposed. There is a glyph up on the side of Simply TOOBASED, so maybe they can hold the line here, as Annihilate comes in with the Electric Vortex, but he's losing his teammates. Monkeys will die, dead for 2 minutes, no buyback available. And I don't think they can do this. The Ancient is slowly but surely dropping.
Yeah, GG's called.
They give it a good go there. One last hurrah for them, but it's not going to be enough, as D2 Hustlers close this one out just shy of 50 minutes, as Flea taken down one last time inside of the fountain. Papatuti able to sort of pad the stats a bit there with that double kill.
And really just D2 Hustlers, again, they find their comfort heroes. They find exactly what they need. They get their stand-in on a hero that he's probably very comfortable with. First game being the Rubik, second game being that Shaker. You pick it to sort of counteract that Monkeys Forever Broodmother. And while he is a master of the hero, it feels like really Boris and Annihilate weren't able to pick up the slack with all the space that he was making. And it feels like TOOBASED, while they did have that opening, while they were sneaky, they were playing around their timings, Yuma just farmed it up. They really didn't do anything to that Naga Siren. They had maybe 1 or 2 picks on him where they were able to catch him off guard, but the supporting cast were able to pull him through. And yet again, we see Devi Lama getting this Timber Saw and just sort of putting the team on his back. He continues to do this time and time again. I'm surprised more people aren't banning the Timber Saw first phase, because he really shows no fear into playing versus really any of these matchups.
Yeah, a situation here where, well, you may not want to give him that hero anymore. It sounds so simple to say it that way, but at the end of the day, it kind of is that simple. Stop letting him get Timber. He's doing so much work with it, as D2 Hustlers pull off the 2-0 sweep. So they've got themselves 2 victories on the board here, and at this point, they're going to be looking for even more. It's a fantastic start to the day for them, but they're only halfway through it. They've got another matchup coming up here. They shift away from an NA matchup to the South American region, as we are going to be preparing for D2 Hustlers versus Infamous as our next matchup. So the D2 Hustlers will be in action once again, taking on an Infamous squad that's looking to sort of build up some momentum themselves in the second half of this schedule. So we will be moving into that next series momentarily. Before we do, though, I'm going to have to give you a quick word from the sponsor of this event, a message from LootBet. The new users on LootBet can get a 100% bonus on their first deposit of up to 150 euros. Use promo code PRO, that's PRO, on loot.bet. Meanwhile, existing users can also find more promotions and deals when they visit loot.bet as well. So, shout out to LootBet. Thank you for sponsoring the event. Thank you for providing us those in-game odds as well, as you've been seeing those pop up on your screen. Do please check them out. Try and use that promo code if you are a new user. As always, though, do remember to bet responsibly. So, thank you very much to LootBet, and now we will be moving forward into that third series of the day. D2 Hustlers versus Infamous is going to be coming up in just a little bit. So, we'll see just how much momentum from this 2-0 D2 Hustlers can sort of carry over into that second series.